Hello, everybody. Bev here from Dublin, and I got Douglas in Cape Town. Are you in Cape Town?
I am in Cape Town. It's meant to be summer and it's raining. It's weird. The world's upside down.
Here in October in Dublin, we've got a really sunny day, and it's actually quite mild weather-wise, which is a bit bonkers.
Okay, so everything's upside down. Perfect.
Thank you for the weather. So I've asked you to come on today to have a little chat with me about how excited are you to come back into the UK to do our next training, because it's February is the last training, and then COVID hit, and we were the last course, I believe, before
February last year. Yeah. So it's amazing, because I realized that almost to cope as a strategy, I almost went into a hibernation around that. And then when Christopher and I started talking about Denmark, like I had to bring back my travel brain, my teaching brain. And so the minute that started, then everything else was like, well, I want to do this. You know, sometimes over the years of traveling, it's like I've done so much traveling that's all you kind of have that like, all right, so now I'm going here. I'm like, wow, cool. This is, I can't wait to see everyone again. And we don't know everyone who's going to be coming because they're new people, but there are a lot of old faces coming. And it's kind of, we've all gone through a process. And, you know, for anyone to say that your physiology hasn't changed in the last year and a half, let's just go wait and see. Because the one thing I know talking to everyone around the world is they're talking about what's coming up with clients. And, you know, clients are smashed. So why would we assume that we're not? And what are we going to do about it? You know, and so the most important thing that we can do in this training, besides learning and reconnecting, is building ourselves up again, making ourselves stronger, so that when we are working with people in these rather dire situations, and you know, the depressions are deeper, the anxieties and paranoias are definitely more extreme. Like it's how many people can honestly say that if you bump into 10 people today and have a conversation, that you're not going to come out of going, whew, toot, toot, toot. That was edgy, because people are they've got so much angst, so much stuff going on inside them. You know, it's kind of why I've got my shirt on here. This says Gatful. So Gatful. So for anyone who's listening, you have to try and say that. I would say that if you're from the Netherlands or from Denmark, you'd probably be quite good at saying Gatful. See, because it's Afrikaans, the full is also quite deep. You can't sing it, which is the Netherlands. But Gatful basically means sick of it. Enough. It's a good South African term. And in fact, a few weeks ago, Matt and I went with a few guys to go and play paddle, because Nuno and Duat introduced us to paddle, and we've now got some courts in South Africa. And I was wearing my Gatful shirt, and some young kid, probably about 15 years old, actually interrupted our game and came and said, "Sorry, sir, please can you tell me where you got that shirt, because I want one." Because it just tells, you know, this is where I'm at. And it's not, there's never a right or a wrong. It's just, this is it. Come on. Are we not so sick of all of this manic, bizarre chaos? So what we want to do is we want to get together, and we want to be the bizarre, manic chaos in a safe, orchestrated space, controlled space, where we can come out and the chaos out there won't look so chaotic, because we will be back.
Oh yeah, well, I can't wait for that, because, you know, bringing you back after 18 months of, well, I won't say twiddling your thumbs, because you've done an awful lot, but you know, the sideline that you're, you know, if everything else fails in your life, you have a potential of creating t-shirt sales, because the amount of people who are after your t-shirts, after the 1, 2, 3 and the superstar in the middle.
Okay, so you don't know this. You're now okay, so yes. Yeah, so right, this t-shirt. So I had to do something for the butt bungee yesterday. It's actually for the ones that are going off to Maeve. So I dropped stuff off at the screen printers, and I said to them, if I brought you a design, can I make some t-shirts for my next trip? And they were like, yes, of course, sure. And so I'm going to get Matt to take our 1, 2, 3 design and add a 2021. So we actually have a time. You know, I actually got trained on this particular time, and we're going to see how that goes. Ha ha! Surprise!
Finally, I mean,
yeah, but you know, there's a catch.
Always.
You have to be on the course to get one. How's that? If you're not on the course, how can we give you a be activated 2021? You've got to be there. You know, what's that? Be there or be square.
Let me get this straight. People coming on the course, are they going to have access to this t-shirt this time around?
That would be the idea. That would be the idea.
We got a t-shirt. The tour. Doug does Dorset 2021.
Good Lord, that brings up some terrible imagery, so let's not go with that one.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, you know, it just feels appropriate because it is actually a celebration that we did training in 2021, where actually we really thought that this wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it is something worthy of celebration. So let's celebrate and let's mark it.
I mean, that was the whole thing. It was just, you know, I'm really excited by that because so many people have asked. And in fact, people have asked me if they made it, could they do it for you? And I kept sending you all these people over the years, and you're like, yes, 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 we'll do it. And now it's just exactly as things happen with you. The time is right and it gets done.
Yeah.
You know,
before it just felt like an extra thing that, you know, was nice to have. Now it's significant. Now it's something almost like we can proudly wear something because it's taken an effort and it's a celebration of that effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, God, this has been I mean, if I look back over to what's, you know, when you had this real energy burst about you wanted people to come over to South Africa to see how amazing the country is, and it's like, and I hadn't seen the energy at all in this last year. I've seen, like, you know, this, like, we've all been doing the roller coaster.
Yeah.
And that moment was like, Doug's back, you're there, and it was just like, ooh, and then obviously.
No. So that was a real roller coaster, because it was opening up a possibility, feeling it, seeing it, having actually from everything from accommodations figured out on 2 different levels, locations, places we were going to do stuff, and then suddenly the whole game changed, you know, and so part of it was the lockdowns, and then suddenly our restrictions became pretty hectic again. But it's when we were looking at things opening up, so it would be easy, so people could get in easily. But getting out, you'd have to go and sit for 2 weeks, which I actually thought would be a bonus because you'd have 2 weeks to reflect on the chaos you experienced in Africa. But for me, that was really cool and really high and really crap and really low when I realized it wasn't possible, because there was just so much went on in South Africa at that time. And it's like any pressure cooker, you know, so we had a whole lot of political hectic violence going on up Durban way, KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. Not our area, but everything comes over in our area. We ended up having a taxi war, which when you come here, you'd understand it's not a taxi that you think. It's different. It's taking a lot of people, and it's the harshness and the beauty of Africa. So Africa is real. And so in that there's an insane beauty and rawness, but there's also within rawness there's a violence, and so the database that one plays it is big, and so the highs, the beauty, the freedom is immense, but so is the backlash and the pushback, and when we've had all this pressure, like everyone's had around the world, this pressure, and some some countries are able to say, hey, we're not going to let you do this, this, and this, but what we're going to do for you to make sure you're okay is this, this, and this. Africa, South Africa, but Africa is not able to do that. They're allowed to say, you can't do this, but there's not enough resources and there's not enough infrastructure to say, and we're going to take care of you like this. There was some stuff, but it was so small that it just added within people a greater level of desperation. And I know a lot of people in Europe are going, but I've been desperate. I hear you. We don't undermine your desperation because it's your experience of it. And this is the big thing yeah, but I know I'm digressing here, but
yeah, I get it, because it's the same, you know, it is all relative to, I feel extremely grateful that I experienced this in Europe, because, you know, yes, financially things got tougher, but I had a safety net. I wasn't completely, I mean, there were people that were not looked after, you know, even in Dublin, you know.
Yeah. And so, but the thing is that, but what we've got to realize is that each one of us, the way we interpret what's going on around us is how our physiology is going to play it out. And that's the big thing. And that's why it is so important to never say to someone, you are wrong, your perspective is wrong. And because your perspective is this, that's why your body is doing that. And so, you know, when one person goes, oh, this happened, how do you feel about it? Oh, I feel all right. It was bad, and someone else goes, oh my God, no, that same thing, that was the end of my world. I pictured this. You can't say you're wrong. That was their perspective. That was the way they interpreted. Now you take those two interpretations through your physiology, you get totally different things manifesting. And so this is why more than ever, we need to listen to the words people use to describe where they're at. And that is why when we were doing the podcasts, I think we did about 30, in at least 15. I said, I wish people would stop telling me, oh, I'm okay, I've got this, because we can see that you're not. And when you can acknowledge that you're not, you can do something with it. And if you bullshit, if you pretend, if you hold up this fake thing inside, you're dying, but you can't do anything with it because you're in denial. Our job is to connect ourselves with our physiology. And I'm going to show you something quite funny. I'm not going to demonstrate it to you because Matt's got to teach me properly, but I'm going to make a video on this thing. It's a gyroscope. And it'll be really important to what we do. Not that I'm going to teach you how to use gyroscopes, but the philosophy of a gyroscope should actually be the philosophy of what we do. Now, up till about 4 weeks ago, I couldn't have told you anything about a gyroscope, but Matt was doing a project and he asked me if I'd help him do some research. And while we were doing the research and trying to explain the physics of how that crazy thing works, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what we are working on and trying to find within ourselves. So what a gyroscope does that's quite amazing is when it spins correctly, notice when it spins correctly, when it's in the right sequence, this thing can sit on a piece of string, it can sit on my finger, it won't fall over. You know, all technology uses these. It's a reference point. Because it knows what its own reference point is, it stays in balance no matter what you do with it. I want to be that.
Right.
I want to be that. So I'll make a video on that once Matt shows me, because that's we borrowed it from his friend. And I was going, every time I do it, it goes, but it doesn't quite go. And he's almost going, well, Dad, your reference point sucks, you know, is really what but he's going to teach me. And but the idea is that right now, every day that you read something in the news where the rules have changed, what we're doing, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do is different. So there's a huge level of uncertainty. Even when people are going, woohoo, we're open. Yes, we are, but
yeah, look, you know, I mean, for me, one of the most craziest things was that I couldn't understand and still don't understand was that of all the things to open, the yoga industry was the last. Like, we have only just been allowed to open where gyms and everything else were. I don't know, because we breathe, I think. I don't know. Nobody could be clear about the rules. So that created like quite a bit of anger, concern, like, what is this? And then my political mind started to go into places where I don't normally go. So, and I was like, okay, that's not like it. But
but let's take this now. Let's say I go to the gym, and then you come and you go, it's actually not fair because you're allowed to go to the gym and I'm not allowed to do yoga. What do I have to do? I now have to defend my position, the little piece of the freedom that I've been given. So I have to come up with reasons why you yogis shouldn't be allowed and are wrong. And I might be sympathetic and say, oh, it's unfortunate, but I don't want to give up my piece because I've got that freedom. And we found in when I had to cancel the thing to South Africa, when we had the lockdown rules, and I stood with many surfers going, isn't it weird? We can't do this. This has been taken away, da, 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 da. And actually all we've done is gone, we're still allowed to surf because the last time we weren't. And so we were grateful for the morsel we'd been given. And so you pick a priority, you pick what's most important to you. But all of that is a crazy thing. And you know, I think there's been a lot of bad decision making and management, but at the same time, like anything else, if we seek into like a higher self, we still have to say that the people in leadership are trying their best to do the best with a situation that they don't understand. They're also limited with the information they've got. So I've done the stuff where I've been pissed off and angry by the decisions that are being made, and I don't like it. And there's a child in me that's like that. But you know what? If I'm in a good place, my happiness should not be dictated by someone out there. My happiness should not even be dictated whether I can surf or not, because happiness is a choice. But in order to do that, I have to know myself. I have to find myself. I have to be in myself. Happiness is easy. Happiness is easy.
We humans, intrinsically do not like to be contained and held back. So the minute you say no to a human being, there's a question of why and how can I get around that for most.
I know. But isn't that amazing? Because what it does is the minute someone says no, they now have control of your attention.
Physiology. Yeah.
And now, no. But understand this. And so you can hear, and I'd love to tell you how well I navigated all of this. You know, and I meditated and I realized an insight. No bullshit. I was angry. I was pissed off. I was grateful. I was desperate. I was, it's like all of those things. It's not because I navigated it well. It's because I can reflect and go, when it was okay, why was it okay? And when it wasn't, why was it not okay? And yeah, it all came down to how much power I gave the ATOFs to control my narrative, what I felt about me. Because if we are truly, truly successful, and this is my realization, is if we're truly successful, we can sit right here where we are today and not have to do anything to find the joy and the happiness and the ease. And so if you think about activation, and this is what I'm quite excited about in the like re-looking at something. So what do we know? People get off the table and they go, whoa, I feel lighter. I can move better. My pain's less, or it's gone. I can see better. I can hear better. Okay. So now imagine you and I are sitting next to each other. Okay. But you can see twice as well as me. You can hear twice as well as me. Your experience of the room, the space around us, is twice as much as me. How much less you have to do to find joy than me? Wow. How's that? How's that? Because you can find joy because
so
you really
that thing that you go here, whatever your extremes are, you've got to go both sides of it,
Yeah.
That's your
And the thing is that understanding that when we take some control back and we find our physiology, we get to choose how we feel. You
here's
know,
your job.
it's like when someone says, you have offended me. I love it because I go, you chose to be offended. That's all I heard. You chose to be offended. I did something. You chose to be offended. Being offended is a choice. Being angry, it's a choice. Not that, and it's crap because you want to go, no, but you made me angry because of da-da-da-da-da. Okay, well, now you have all the power because you are making me angry. No, I chose to be angry. I chose to allow you to make me angry. And now I own it. Now I can do something with it. And that's the wonders of physiology, because when, like for someone who is maybe hearing this for the first time, it sounds like hang on, but activation is about like helping you breathe, getting a sequence, strength, power, flexibility, endurance, speed, balance, coordination, all that stuff, isn't it? Yes, of course it is. Hundreds. But when you have all of those things in play, you have a better integration into your environment, into your world. You see more, you hear more, you experience more. And if I can see more than you, and this is how I teach my athletes. So if I want to teach my athlete to see more than their opponent, that's it. And if you can see more and you can do more, doesn't mean you're stronger than, right? I've got lots of people who are not as strong as their opponent, but they can see things that their opponent can't see, which means you're always going to beat them.
Oh, I know.
I want to be the best in my world. I don't want to beat you. I want to be the best me. So I want to be able to see. I want to see the spaces, see the gaps, see the joy, even when it's friggin' ugly. I want to see it.
This is something I was talking with one of my clients the other day. He came in, he's got a shoulder thing going on. He's a big, strong lad, and he's done all sorts of martial arts. He's done everything. Whatever he does, he's one of those goes for it extremely, So when he was a power lifter, he was a big, fat-necked guy like this. And, he knew that wasn't doing. He started to come to my Ashtanga classes, and he's like, this is different. So he started to do that. And then he went into martial arts. So, but whatever he does, he really focuses, becomes very focused on it. And now he's doing some fighting, Muay Thai fighting. So he's doing all this elbow work. But I'm like, you're just brute force, man. You're just going like this. I said, it's not coming. So those little tiny Thai people, they fly, boom, and they can fell you with one strike. And there's nothing in that. They have done very little work to get you down on the ground.
You know what you reminded me of? Sure, this must be about 15 years ago. We had a cage fighter on the workshop, and I think it was in Joburg, and it was level 2, so we get to play. And he was asking about elbow strikes. Now, I'd worked with a lot of fighters at that point, but nobody never asked me about elbow strikes. So he had to teach me an elbow strike, and then I had to hack it. And it was so brilliant because it's one of those where even videoed would not have made sense, because it was an overstrike, whatever it is, I don't even know. And so we got him blocking. So I got to do the strike a few times. And I said, how was that? He said, geez, that's pretty good. You should fight. I said, no, but that was the bad sequence one. And then I said, if I were doing this, this is how I would do it. And so I put sequence and the same movement. And so he's there blocking, right? And I did the strike, and I swear he slid back in his tennis shoes, in his shoe, it wasn't in socks. He slid back about a meter. So I've just done exactly the same movement, except for the sequence. And he's standing a meter away like this, going with big eyes, and the whole room. So for anyone who was on that workshop, let us know what you saw. That must have been 10, 15 years ago. It was one of those where straight afterwards we went, okay, you go sit down now. We're just going to move on, because whatever that was ridiculous. And I'd forgotten all about it. But it's amazing when you can start to see and understand that that's what the possibility is. It wasn't that I was some great fighter. He taught me something. I added sequence to it, and then something scary happened, and we both kind of almost respected the moment and went, okay, let's just back off now, baby, because that's dangerous.
And that was the first time, because he's been on my table a lot over the years, and he's an interesting guy. And at that moment, he got the sequence, because he knows the 1, 2, 3, but it is still theoretical.
Yeah, you have to feel it, and when you feel it, you're shocked. Why? Because it's so easy. There's no strain, no effort, and so if there's no effort, that means that force moves up through the body, and in this particular case, out through the elbow, which means what's going to get damaged? Oh, nothing except what you hit. You know, how's your body gonna, well, your body's expanding through movement, and therefore it's exploding into whatever it contacts with. That's scary. That's scary, not if you're him, but if you're the opponent. But what's always interesting is, again, then how physiology plays. So now imagine he gets it, and he can get it in practice, he can get it on the bag, he can get it in a little bit of sparring, and then he goes and has a slightly more serious match. But now it's more serious. His mind goes, oh, I know what it feels like, and this is what, and starts to overthink it. He's already lost his sequence. And now he's going to try to do that in a match, but he's not going to do anything of what he could do when he was just playing and experimenting and being curious. So to train an athlete to remain curious in competition, there's the game. When they do that, in competition, they'll find new ways. They will come back to us and they'll go, that's so weird. You know, I was under pressure and I suddenly realized I'd never tried it this way. And then I did that, and they couldn't do anything about it. Well, of course, because you'd never even considered it. So how could they plan when you do this? Because you've never done it before. And so can you stay curious in competition? That's a whole nother game.
I think what you've taught me through Be Activated is always to be curious about your clients. So it's even, you know, be curious. That for me, I don't really work with athletes that much anymore. So
oh, no. It's athletes are just an area, but I think most of us work mostly with clients who people who function in the world.
So I've been working with a group of people. They're from an organization called Sound, and they have narcolepsy and cataplexy. And the cataplexy
okay, so I know what narcolepsy is. What's cataplexy?
Cataplexy is when the brain shuts off power to certain muscles at random, and it's usually attached to emotion. So anything happy, so laughter, extreme emotions, and they're all slightly different. So something will trigger each of them. And I'm really enjoying working with this group. And they're okay, so they've got an injury, and there's a whole group of them, and I started working with them about 2 years ago. And initially it was yoga meditation, and I brought activation in because that's what we do. And what I'm finding is that the activations are helping. There's a young girl I work with, she's 15, and she's starting to get more control when the cataplexy comes in. Now she's just gone back to school, so there's a lot of overwhelm. Her posture's been terrible, and she's starting to just connect here when she starts to feel gone, and to squeeze her glutes. And she's saying that she's now starting to get a little bit more control over it. But sometimes it goes to the point where she can't communicate, she can only text for help. So that's the next thing we're going to look at, what happens at that point. You can do something. So how about hold your phone and just connect a little bit more with your breath? So I'm like working with.
But that's beautiful, and it's amazing because we can see within like this young girl's story how there's this massive limitation that's still a limitation, but it's less scary. There are things that you're helping her find that she can do that can start to interrupt, that she can become aware. And like my sense is there's a young person who's finding a confidence, maybe compared to your regular teen, she's not there yet, but she's finding confidence within her disability that allows her to slowly expand and be back into environments, knowing that when things go wrong, she has the understanding and the tools to just make it a little easier. And that's amazing. And how different people's worlds are with this stuff. That's wonderful.
She's just, I mean, the whole group are amazing, you know. And there's one particular girl, she's 20, and she says hers comes on when she laughs at someone out of badness, you know. when she's like, ha ha ha, her cataplexy kicks in.
What, he ragdolls and falls to the ground?
She just goes,
Good Lord. I'm now grateful that I don't have that, because I'd be ragdolled the whole workshop.
She's had to do a lot of work around scenarios where she might just be wanting to be a little bit mean to someone. So it's made her really mindful without having to do mindful training. She's just learned. And then there's another, like, so
okay. So we're enjoying this, but remember, this is about people who are considering doing workshops.
Okay, guys. So what I'm saying,
but what I hope people get is, you know, on a base level, we can really help you with your clients. When you know, I've seen some of the wonderful marketing that you've been doing. It really is funky. I really appreciate it. But it is that when you understand why something is happening in the body, you understand the sequence and how the sequence creates the problem. So you can chase the problem until you're blue in the face, but the sequence will keep doing the same thing. And so we have to resequence the body, but all of these things start to change. So the joy of this work isn't someone comes back and goes, whoa, I'm stronger. They go, wow, I'm stronger. But it's really strange because I'm happier, or I've noticed that when I'm driving my car, I'm singing. Is this what happens with this work? Or you know, my dog likes me now. Or you know, we've had all these crazy things and so there's so much more beyond just the physical ailments that people struggle with, because the physical ailment has all of this other stuff attached to it. And we know that we can help them understand a whole lot more of what's going on and how it impacts, and create some influence for them in their own lives. And
I think where I was going with that was just that in my own life, just through doing activation, like I told you, and you know the story, and so many people do now, but I was unaware of how shut down I was. And I'd been injured, and I'd been managing this injury, and it wasn't getting better. And I thought that was my lot. You know, that's what I'd been told. This is as good as it's going to get. And, you know, I joke about it now, but I have not been the same since. I haven't been the same person. And there was a whole period of time where I was floundering, because I was like, well, who the feck am I now? Like, I actually don't know anymore. So I think coming into this work is, it's changing so many things in so many different layers. It's almost like it starts with awareness, and then the points are just a cursory part of you connecting with your body.
What?
And
Points are a curse? What?
You're a curse, dude. Before activation, my life was pretty nice. So I thought.
It was boring and full of shit. What?
No, but
so let me tell you a story of my week.